Hey, it's the Rican, and today this is not the article. Well, I'm going to talk about this, but this is not really what I want to talk about because this is the news of the day. Where he's from an article from the Daily Wire. News outlets issue major corrections after botching reports on December phone call between Trump and Georgia election investigator. So this is the major talk because the the media had to issue corrections, and some of the corrections were so vague and they just made it seem like it was not a big deal, but it really was. I mean, um, but what I want to touch basis on is sorry, I'm trying to. This is a very interesting article I found. It says here it's by Matt Taibbi, famous from the Rolling Stones, I think, right? Uh, It goes here: the Sovietization of the American press, the transformation from phony objectivity to open one-party orthodoxy hasn't been an improvement. And anyone who watches my videos will always know that my biggest critique is always with the media. And like people always go, "Oh, but Fox News this and but Fox News that." Um, but here's the problem: other than Fox News, you can name the right wing outlets on one hand. Let's say Fox News, OAN, um, and One American News and Newsmax. That's it. When it comes to anything on cable, those are the three channels. That's it. And okay, let's go a little further. Let's go. Let's say publications, or let's say, uh, when newspapers, you know, New York Post, maybe Wall Street Journal. So there's five, and and then maybe maybe some websites where you have Daily Wire, Bongino Report, let's say Breitbart, Blaze. There you go. If I'm missing some, it's not by stuff that I don't read, but it's not maybe a stuff that's not as known. But there's some names that are out there, okay? But what do you got on the other side? ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC. Um, did I say uh, CBS, uh, CNN, Headline News? Uh, okay, let's see. Anyway, let's go news. Let's go publications: New York Times, LA Times, uh, um, Daily News. Just spitballing names outside that I know of: Dallas Morning News, um, Washington Post. How could I forget Washington Post? But you get what I'm saying now. And then forget it. Online, you got Young Turks, Huffington Post, Vice, Vox. Um, um, anyways, if you get where I'm going with this. So, but here's the whole thing: the transformation from phony objectivity to open one party orthodoxy hasn't been improvement. Excuse me, my allergies are horrible. Or spring is here. I'm gonna be nasally. My nose is gonna be congested. Bear with me. Um, the later the video I make it, the better it is. But just taking advantage right now of a quiet of my kids. um, I collect Soviet newspapers. Years ago, I used to travel Moscow flea markets every few weeks, hooking up with a dealer who crisscrossed the country, digging up pages from the Cold War era, which is interesting. I find this, for someone who, well, I collect shot glasses, but if when I go somewhere or friends go somewhere, I ask them to get me one. So, so it goes here, where it's funny because this is stuff like us on the right. This is stuff that we do. It goes here. A good Soviet could write almost any Pravda headline in advance. What else but a mighty demonstration of the union of the party and the people fit the day after supreme Soviet elections? What news could come from the Spanish Civil War but success of the Republican fleet? who could earn an orbit headline by the faithful son of the party. And that's what us on the right, we could tell how a story is going to be written by the people on the left. Especially their favorite, Republicans pounce, Republicans seize the opportunity. It's like when it's a Democratic scandal, that's what they're always jump to. Uh, and here, like I said, I'll put the link to the article so people could read this. I think it's important for people to go through and to go through the whole article. Just going to touch on some points here. Here goes where he goes. 95% of most issues of Pravda or Izvestia were just names of party leaders surrounded by a list of applause words like glittering, full-hearted, wise, mighty, courageous, in complete moral political union with the people. Some of the headlines in the U.S. press lately sound suspiciously like this kind of work. Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty. Champion of the middle class comes to the aid of the poor. Biden's historic victory for America. The most Soviet of the recent efforts didn't have a classically Soviet headline. Comedians are struggling to parody Biden. Let's hope this doesn't last, read the Washington Post opinion piece by Richard Zoglin, arguing that Biden is the first president in generations who might be impervious to impressionists. Yeah, okay. Zoglin contended Biden is impregnable to parody, his voice being too devoid of obvious quirks, his manner too muted and self-efficating to offer comedians much to work with. He was talking about this person. I guess this is I didn't check this out here.
You're getting nervous, man. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take the next.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's nothing to make fun of this guy about. Nothing whatsoever. But this is the ridiculous that passes for news. I mean, granted, that's an op-ed piece, but still, it's what it's nowadays. It's hard to tell the difference between op-ed and news. Like I said, like this article, this headline: Biden stimulus showers money on Americans, sharply cutting poverty. Like, really? Right? So, so forget the impregnable to parody. The poll spent last year jamming fingers in the sternums of voters, challenging them to push up contents, calling them lying dog-faced pony soldiers. Remember that one? That was priceless. It doesn't take much to find comedians like James and ad-libbing riffs on Biden. The first 50 days of Biden administration have been a surprise on multiple fronts. The breadth of this stimulus suggests a real change from Obama years, which hints where is it? Sorry, lost my. But it's hard to know what this means because coverage of Biden increasingly resembles official press releases, often featuring embarrassing Soviet-style contortions. Here's the problem. The problem is that, with Trump, when Trump, they didn't take him for his word, which you shouldn't take any politician for their word as it is. But here you go with whatever the Biden administration is releasing. Nobody's questioning it. He hasn't even done a Q&A with the press yet. Could you imagine Trump not doing this and how the media would have flipped out? That's, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like here's the next part of the article where he goes, when Biden decided not to punish Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the murder of Washington Post writer Jamil Khashoggi on the grounds that the cost of breaching the relationship with one of America's key Arab allies was too high. The New York Times headline read, Biden won't penalize Saudi crown prince over Khashoggi's killing, fearing relationship breach. When Donald Trump made the same calculation saying that he couldn't cut ties because the world is a very dangerous place and uh, our relationship is with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the paper joined most of the rest of the press corps in howling outrage. This week, in its Crusade for the Poor piece, the Times described Biden's identical bin Salman decision as mere evidence that he remains. Go upstairs. Sorry about that. I was hoping to have a moment to make this video, but anyone who has kids knows that. Um, so it goes here. It's here in the describe Biden's identical bin Salman decision as mere evidence that he remains in the cautious middle in his foreign policy. The paper previously had David Sanger dig up a quote from the Middle Eastern negotiator Dennis Ross, who applauded Mr. Biden for trying to thread the needle here. This is classic example of where you have to balance your values and your interests. And this is where you see the difference between the coverage of the media between Trump and Biden. What? That's where I go. Trump said a lot of stupid things, but a lot of the hate was manufactured. A lot of the hate was the media elites not and an elite not liking this man. That's it. That's what it basically boils down to. And you see this here, and like I said, you keep going down on this article. But like I said, it's you compare that. Like I said, you see all of this stuff that goes on with now it's a different policies. I mean, it's a different administration. He did the same thing, but you see the wording of the positions that they took. It's the same identical position, except that it was trashed under Trump. But when Biden came into office, oh no, now it's fine. And that leads me to when I said what everybody's talking about. You got, the news. This is how the news covers, and this is what happened with the story. Let's say you get they say anonymous source. Anonymous source goes to the Washington Post. Here's the story. Okay. Well, now they go to now the same anonymous source goes to CBS and NBC, and it's a circle jerk. That's what they do. It's like, here's the story, and it's the one person telling everybody the same story, but they all say they confirm the story. So you would, everybody thinks that all these media outlets confirm the story with a different source, but that's not what happened. They actually, they just use the same source on the story, one source for multiple outlets on the story, so they could, or just so they could, basically, so just so they could dirty Trump, and that's where, people who, even if you didn't like Trump, you got to say that's dirty, that's shady that they did this. And you have to go and look back and go, okay, where else were they doing this that maybe made me not like the guy? What did he do? Like, yeah, he said, he put his foot in his mouth, says stupid things. But before coronavirus, before the COVID-19 pandemic, the economy was booming, and people were, there was talks of, that he wasn't going to be beaten because the economy is so good. All of a sudden, COVID hits, bam, no more. And who knows? I mean, let's see what happens in the next 4 years. The bellwether will be in 2 years, and see what happens in the midterms. If the Republicans win the midterms, the Democrats are probably going to be in trouble 2024. But like I said, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm always um, annoyed with the media. So the media is one, like I've always said in my videos, they're the ones that got me to um, change my stance on, never voting for a Republican. It was like, oh, look at, with seeing how they covered that. I mean, I still have my negative opinions of Bush, and then seeing this stuff, I go, okay, it's stuff I don't like about Bush that I know I don't like about Bush. I don't like his policies, but I wonder what else I hated about Bush at the time that the media might have made me hate him because of the way they covered him. And so who knows? But hope you like my content. Please like and follow my either my YouTube or my Rumble if you either one you're watching this on. And follow me on social media. It's the Right Rican at at Facebook, Twitter, Gab, uh, Clout Hub. Uh, so I'm on all those social media sites. So follow me there, and have a good one, everyone. I hope you and I hope you, like I said, I just hope you enjoy my content. Good night.